Welcome to Lavender Town Radio, where shadows whisper and every story hides a darker truth. Tonight, let me take you deeper into the world of Pokémon you were never meant to see.
My name is Isla. They say I experience an episode of acute postpartum psychosis. That's the official diagnosis in my medical file. Neat, clean words used to package a nightmare. They say the sleep deprivation, the isolation, and the pressure created hallucinations. I don't argue with them. I nod, I take the medication, I attend the therapy sessions, but I know what I saw, I know what I felt, and I know that deep in the Glimwood Tangle, a small spirit is still crying. It all began when we moved into the cottage, a small stone house nestled on the very edge of Glimwood Tangle near the town of Ballinlee. My husband, Finn, is a botanist, and this forest was a gold mine for him. For me, it was an escape. We had just welcomed our first child, a beautiful baby girl named Rose. I thought the fresh air and the quiet of the woods would be good for both of us. But the quiet of Glimwood isn't peaceful. It's a heavy silence, as if the forest is holding its breath. The light here is strange, filtered through bioluminescent trees, creating dancing phantoms of blue and pink on the ground. And in that quiet, I started to hear it. Rose was a good baby, but like all newborns, she cried. And during the long, exhausting nights, as I was soothing her, I began to hear a second cry. It was faint, almost inaudible, mixed in with Rose's wails, a weak, sad little sob that seemed to come from the very walls of the house. "Finn, can you hear that?" I asked my husband one night. He listened, then shook his head. "I just hear our daughter, my love. You need to get some sleep." He was right. I was exhausted. I told myself it was just my tired mind playing tricks on me. But then I started to see it. I started hearing a second cry in the house. My husband said I was just tired, but then I saw it. It wasn't a clear shape. It was just a shadow, a disturbance in the air, in the corner of Rose's room. A small, child-sized patch of darkness with two faint, glowing points where its eyes should be. The first time I saw it, my heart stopped. I flipped on the light, and it was gone. Just the light, I told myself, my hands trembling. But it kept reappearing, always in Rose's room, always in the dark. Sometimes I'd see it hovering over her crib, and I would rush in, screaming, only to find nothing there. Finn started to worry. He thought I was hallucinating, that the postpartum depression was getting worse. He installed a baby monitor camera in Rose's room, "So you can have peace of mind," he said. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in bed, staring at the monitor screen. Everything was normal. Rose was sleeping soundly. And then it appeared. On the screen, in the grainy infrared light, it was clearer than ever. A shape like a small tree stump with two spindly arms and two large, sad, glowing eyes. It was floating beside the crib, watching Rose sleep. I wasn't crazy. It was real. I showed Finn the video. The color drained from his face. That's a phantom," he whispered, his voice full of awe. "They're the spirits of children who got lost and died in the forest. The wood they used to build this cottage, it must have come from a tree this spirit once inhabited." My fear was replaced by a profound sense of pity. It wasn't a monster, it was a child, a lonely, lost child.
They say Phantump are the spirits of lost children. We decided to let it stay. It was the biggest mistake of our lives.
We didn't call the Rangers.
We did something that was probably foolish, but felt right at the time. We decided to welcome it. Finn did some research and said that Phantump weren't malicious. They just craved friendship. And we had Rose. We started leaving toys out for it in Rose's room. A ball of yarn, a soft Teddy Ursa doll. The next morning, we would find them moved. Gradually, it grew bolder. It would appear even in low light, a faint, translucent shape. Rose didn't seem afraid. She would look towards it and giggle, waving her tiny hands. It became her invisible friend, and for a while, it seemed magical. The second cry had stopped, the house felt less lonely. I even started talking to it, giving it a name, Willow. "Watch over for Rose for me, Willow," I'd say when leaving the room, and I felt like it was listening. But then, I started to get tired. Not the normal fatigue of a new mother. This was a deep, cold exhaustion, but settled in my bones. I started losing weight. My skin grew pale. Sometimes I would get dizzy and have to hold onto the wall to keep from falling. Finn was worried, but the doctors couldn't find anything wrong. I didn't realize it, but Willow wasn't just playing. It was feeding. The Pokédex says Phantumps sustain themselves by siphoning life force from the woods. But in our house, there was only one abundant source of life force: me.
It used to be my daughter's friend. But then it grew jealous. It decided it didn't want to share me anymore. As I grew weaker, I spent less time playing. I spent most of my days in bed, while Finn cared for both me and Rose. And Willow began to change. Its presence no longer felt comforting. It became clingy. It would follow me from room to room, hovering in the corner, its glowing eyes never leaving me. I realized it was jealous. Whenever I held Rose, I would feel a sudden chill in the room. Toys in the nursery would fall off the shelves on their own. Rose's mobile would abruptly stop spinning. It wanted my attention, all of it. It had grown accustomed to having both me and Rose to play with. Now that I was confined to my bed and Rose took up all of Finn's time, it felt abandoned. A child's jealousy can be frightening, but the jealousy of a lonely child's spirit is 100 times more terrifying. The worst incident happened one afternoon. I was drifting off to sleep when I heard Rose shriek. I shot out of bed, the dizziness nearly making me collapse. In the nursery, Willow was hovering directly over the crib, but it was no longer translucent. It had become solid, almost corporeal. Its stump-like body surrounded by a faint black aura. Its eyes were no longer sad. They were glowing red with rage. It was reaching a spindly arm towards Rose. "Willow, no!" I screamed. It turned to look at me, and for a moment, I saw a flash of an image in my mind, not my own. A dark, cold forest, the feeling of being abandoned, utter terror. Then it vanished into the wall. I grabbed my sobbing daughter. She was safe, but I knew we had made a terrible mistake. We had tried to domesticate something wild, an ancient grief, and now it considered us its property. It was jealous of my daughter. One morning, I woke up and her crib was empty. Finn and I made the decision we had to leave immediately. Finn called a friend in Balinlea, arranging for us to stay there. We packed in a tense silence, a sense of dread hanging over the house.
Willow didn't appear, but I could feel it watching. The entire cottage seemed to be holding its breath. We decided to leave at first light. That night, I didn't sleep a wink. I sat in a chair in Rose's room, holding her in my arms, not daring to look away. But the exhaustion won. For just a moment, my head drooped and I drifted off. I woke with a start as the first rays of sun came through the window. The room was unnaturally cold, and my arms were empty. Rose was gone. A horrified scream tore from my throat. Finn burst in. We searched the entire house. She was nowhere. The doors and windows were still locked from the inside. It had taken her. It had taken her right through the walls, into the forest. I lost my mind. I ran out of the house, still in my nightgown, and sprinted towards the Glimwood Tangle, shrieking my daughter's name. Finn tried to follow, but I ran like a madwoman. The forest was ethereal in the early morning. The bioluminescent lights from giant mushrooms created a strange, unreal world. I ran, tripped, screamed until I collapsed from exhaustion at the base of a mossy tree, sobbing in despair. That's when I met him. "Are you all right, miss?" a low, calm voice asked. I looked up. A young man with dark hair and sharp eyes was standing there, a toxtricity at his side. He wore the clothes of a trainer, but there was an air of confidence and experience about him. "My daughter," I sobbed. "It took my daughter." He didn't look skeptical. He just nodded grimly. "A phantom?" I was stunned. How did you know?" "Name's Pierce. I'm from Spikemuth. I've heard the stories about this part of the woods, about children being lured into the forest and never seen again. Tell me everything."
To save my daughter, the strange trainer had to make a choice, and I will have to live with that choice forever. I told Pierce everything, from the first cry to Willow's jealousy. He listened intently, his eyes scanning the forest as if searching for something. "It won't harm her immediately," he said when I was done. "It just wants something for itself, a playmate that will never leave. But a baby can't survive long out here. We have to find them." He followed signs I couldn't see. An unnaturally broken branch, a faint trace of ghostly energy on the ground. We went deeper into the forest, to places where the light barely penetrated. After nearly an hour, we found them. In a small clearing inside a hollowed-out ancient tree, Rose was lying on a bed of leaves, fast asleep, and hovering protectively over her was Willow. It saw us and let out an angry hiss. It was more solid than ever, the black aura around it thicker. It knew we had come to take Rose away. "Isla, get back," Pierce ordered. "Toxtricity, overdrive!" A deafening power cord of electric sound erupted, and a wave of purple energy shot towards the Phantom. But Willow moved with startling speed, dodging the attack. It flew towards us, its spindly fingers sharp as daggers. "It's too fast," Pierce yelled. Willow didn't attack us. It shot past us, back towards Rose. I understood with a surge of absolute terror. It couldn't have me. It couldn't truly have Rose. If it couldn't have her, no one could. It was going to kill my daughter. "There's no time," Pierce roared, his calm demeanor gone, replaced with a cold decisiveness. "I'm sorry for this." He didn't order another attack. He yelled a single word, "Hex!" His toxtricity roared, and a bolt of pure, dark, ghostly energy shot out. It wasn't a physical attack. It was a curse. It enveloped Willow. The Phantom screamed, a sound that was not of a child, but of a spirit being torn apart. Its stump-like body began to disintegrate, not into ash, but in dry, brown leaves.
Its red eyes dimmed. It reached one hand out towards me, a final gesture of longing, before dissolving completely in a swirl of foliage. The clearing fell silent. I ran to my daughter. Rose was awake and crying, but she was safe. She was warm. She was alive. It was a happy ending. Piers saved my daughter's life. He escorted us safely back to Bolonia. My husband and I cried in each other's arms in relief. We left that cottage and never looked back. We live in Hammerlock now, a city of steel and stone, far from any haunted woods. Rose is growing up, a happy, healthy little girl. But the story doesn't end there, because I was saved, but another child was not. Piers didn't banish a monster. He destroyed a spirit. The spirit of a lonely child who was lost in those woods long ago. Sometimes at night, when the wind howls against the stone walls of the city, I think I can hear it, a faint, distant cry. And I know I will have to carry the weight of that choice, of the life my daughter has at the cost of another soul, for the rest of my days. It was a happy ending, but it was not a whole one.
The signal fades, but the darkness lingers. This was Lavender Town Radio. Return, if you dare, because the next story may be your last.